Hey, this is Frank Nieta with Vision Quest Auto, and today we're going to be reviewing this truck, the 2025 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro 1794 edition. And what this version of the Sequoia is the not quite top of the line, but the near top of the line version of this truck. It is, as you can tell by the name, the TRD Off-Road. It's focused more on off-roading. The 1794 edition is really a package that adds a lot of luxury aspects to the vehicle. It really goes for a Western motif. 1794 is the 1794 ranch where this Toyota is built at down in Texas. So that's what that's named after, 1794. Inside, you'll see, we'll take you through it. It definitely has like a look, bit like a Toyota's King Ranch edition. Things like that. You'll notice it's a bit of that Western vibe going on. It's really nice inside. You've got different aspects of the TRD off-roading package. You can tell you've got these steps, a bit of rock rail to them, big tires, the TRD on there on the wheels, off-roading. It's got a little bit of a lift, but for the most part, despite the luxury things, despite the off-road aspects, this is still either the truckiest minivan or the most useful truck, if you will, for a family. This is really what that's focused for. This is a 3-row SUV that's focused on getting families all around while being able to handle anything that's thrown at them, if that makes sense. And for that, it does a great job. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what I like about this car, and there's a whole lot that I like about it. We're going to talk about some things that I don't like, and there's really only 2 aspects, and they kind of tie together. We'll get to that. I'm going to talk about how it drives. We're going to talk about how it compares to other cars. We'll do our this or that category, comparing it with the 3 most popular vehicles it's compared to on Google. So let's get to it. All right, so starting off, you can tell this has a Tundra-like look to it. Really cool. Again, apologize for the rain. It has been a rainy week. This is about the only time I could fit this in without a total downpour. Instead, it's a light rain, if you will. One thing that I think is really cool that I've noticed that's a nice design touch with Toyota is the attention to detail that they even have with the headlights. I love the exposed rivets there, which is something I don't think too many people would find, but it really kind of goes with this ethos of this vehicle, which is a tough family vehicle. I really love it. I love that look. I even love the way that there's little design elements within the headlight with these little, touches there. It's really nice. One thing that I would love, it fits with this one, but I would love to have something similar that we've seen in some of the other Toyotas recently, which is that old school scripting. I don't know how well that would fit in, where it just says Toyota written out. I don't know how well it would fit with this grille, though, to be honest. But I'd like to see them give it that a chance. That's my one thing that I might want there, but I really love the look of this. I don't really have too much of a problem with that. That's just me totally nitpicking. As you can see, it says iForce Max. There's only one engine, a hybrid V6 in this car. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, but that's one of my good things and bad things about this car. We'll get to that more. Again, you've got these big Falcon tires, which really grip the road nicely. The TRD wheels, love the look there, blacked out. 1794 edition just has a nice touch to it. Those side steps look really cool. Just a really nice car. I love the look of that luggage carrier up there on top of the rails. Really nice touch there. You can tell you got those off-road shocks exposed back there with the blue. So a little bit more. There they are, those shocks. A little bit more of a lift. As you can tell, this is the TRD Off-Road Edition, so that's where you got that little bit more of a lift. One thing that's cool that Toyota keeps with this, which I really love, it's between them and Ford and Jeep for the most part to do this. They still have that lift up, which is nice. I had this weekend. Sometimes you might have a bottle of water, say. You lift this up, maybe there's a jostling, that's going to fall out. So if you know that that might fall out, you can always lift up that glass there, reach in, make sure you adjust it before you pop up the entire hatch. I literally love it. That Toyota, some of these other auto manufacturers will keep that around. Here is your cargo space. And okay, with the third row, obviously not great. It's decent, you know. I mean, it's solid. You can take this shelf off. Now, the shelf is an interesting little choice. And the reason why the shelf is where it's at is because these third row seats do not fold flat. And that is because, as I mentioned earlier, this is a hybrid. So that extra battery's got to take up some room. And because of that, seats don't fold flat. And that's my one big knock about this vehicle, which is the hybrid element. Because the other aspect is, despite being a hybrid, this only gets about 20 miles per gallon combined, which isn't great. And I know that it's a full-size SUV, but when you look at it, some hybrid full-size pickup trucks get a little bit better gas mileage. So that's my one big knock on this vehicle, is the fact that, you know, you don't have that better mileage there. And because of that, you also have this. So they did fix this. I'm going to show you. Now, the nice thing is that these seats are power. And it can power down and power up, which is really nice. And it's one touch. You don't have to hold it. It just goes all the way down. So as you can tell, you have this little shelf, and the shelf can adjust. So you can put it all the way down to here if you want to have this aspect covered up. Or you can remove it. You know, it just comes right out and it's gone. You can also move it up higher. So as you can tell, let me give you a little bit more sense of this. That's what happens. That's how much cargo space you're giving up because they're not folding flat. And it may not seem like a big deal, but it really is. And I do think that Toyota did a nice job, because when you put that up there, this shelf up there, you can get your longer bags to lay on this, and they lay flat. But again, you're giving up some cargo space. You know, there's some elements here that Toyota kept around, like the ball mount. They didn't put it on, so they put it in here with the car. They've put some of these other aspects with license plates and stuff in, and that's fine. But, you know, if you had this, you would have this, even more of this space here. And even with this stuff here, I've been able to fit like chairs, full chairs here for sporting events in under there. So it's been useful. I've been able to fit some other stuff in there. It's useful. It's certainly not bad, but it could be a little bit better, is my point. I just wish that you had that fold flat floor. That's all. So we're going to put these back up. Again, you know, they work really nice. I'll show you the second row and the third row here. Coming around. So as you can tell, here's the first look at the 1794, what it does. You got this wood. I'm not sure it's 100% wood, but it's wood anyway. And leather, the stitching kind of has that, you know, ranch look to it. It's a lot of space with these captain's chairs. You've got some cup holders there, a little bit of a cargo area. You've got climate controls. You've got heated and cooled seats. You've got a USB-A and a USB-C charger and a household style outlet. You've also got map pockets in the back, which is nice. You've got two more cup holders up here. So very truck-like. You've also got your vents that are adjustable. So again, very truck-like. You've also got vents up here. You can see them across there. It's a little bit easier to see rather than me going up there. So you got your vents there. So your passengers here in the second row are going to be very comfortable for sure. And these seats can also obviously adjust. Cool thing is, to get in, fully pops out. It is very easy to get into this third row. The cool thing too about the third row is, as you can tell, there are even more cup holders. There's vents up there as well. I hope you can see that. You know, right with the light, there's vents for your third row passengers. There's some padding for the arms. There's two cup holders for each third row passenger, which is very cool on the end. You can adjust these seats. You can recline them. As you can tell, they electronically recline forward and back. You can also move the seats up even more. So a good amount of third row space. Like I said, it's not quite as much space as what you would get with a Chevy Tahoe, but it's pretty close. Also, really cool touch is there are window shades for the third row. They're down right now, but similar to right up there, you will actually get them in the third row. That is a really big rarity, to be honest. You very, very rarely see third row window shades, which is a really nice touch. Again, easy access. Everything's been very well thought out here by Toyota. Great, great job by them. Let me come back around here. So again, here's your memory settings. You know, really nice materials quality. It's leather. It's leather-like. It's got your wood-like trim. All your controls are here. Your heated seat, or your heated steering wheel. Gas cap can open there. Again, your TRD badged steering wheel. It's got return to center, not return to center, but center line there. It's got the start stop button. It says TRD, which is a cool little touch. The shifter, nice shifter. It also has that red line to again show what's going on here. And again, you see wood. It's really over there. It's got that kind of bit of a saddle look to me. Over above the glove box when you're looking at it, that leather where you got the different colors, the brown there. And then you've got the 1794 edition touched in there. Again, cooled vented seats. I will show you some more. This cabin space is really, really nice in here. Now I'm going to pop the trunk just to show you some of this engine. Again, this is only one engine, and it is the iForce Max V6 hybrid. This makes 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque, which is incredible. It really has a really, 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 really fast acceleration, especially for something this size. So it's really impressive what Toyota has done with a vehicle this big as far as acceleration goes. So there's your startup with the Sequoia. Nice little intro. As you can tell, I've been averaging 19.3 miles per gallon. You've got your all digital display, your speedometer, everything else. You can see all your stuff about your hybrid mode. It's about half a tank. It's still got 174 miles left on it. So it does get a lot of mileage, but the miles per gallon, the fuel efficiency itself, not the best. I wish it was better. Now, one thing that I have no problems with is the touch screen is absolutely massive and very, very responsive. Again, here's another really nice feature. It's got tri-zone climate controls, which are really nice. So you can control, the rear back there. You can control the second row. You can control the front row, obviously. And of course, your passenger can also control it. Very, very easy to use. Everything's very switchy. This is how you put it up and down, turn the fans, sync it, everything there. You got heated and cooled seats. You've got a 360 camera. Oh, there you go. You've got, your disengage right there. You do have your trailer mode, as you can tell, as well, right there. So very, very, very useful, very truck-like. You also have a USB-A. Now, this is something, there are two USB-C ports here, but I do wish that Toyota had them more up front instead of the USB-A up there. I appreciate that they still include the USB-A. It's not the best location. Not what I really, really would like to see, but it's fine. Do have a nice wireless charger. Also can double as a little storage area. You've got good sized cup holders here. Got your driving modes. This has Eco, Normal, and Sport. Now, Sport does make a big difference. You'll actually feel even better, even quicker acceleration. That said, acceleration in Eco is no slouch. It really does a great job. I have no problems with that. You got your four-wheel drive, you got your four-wheel drive controls. You can put it right now. I obviously got it at 2 high. You can put it in 4 high, 4 low. You've also got, crawl control, your towing and hauling modes, all that. Now, here's a cool thing that I like that Toyota's done with this center console as far as being able to with the storage here. So you've got this little pull up, which not great. It's small, but you know, you can put some stuff in there. It's handy. This is cool. It slides back if you want quick access instead of having to get everybody, you know, if your passengers like, I got my arm here, you don't want to bug them, you just want to grab something, you can reach right in there, slide this back. Also works as a little bit of a change holder, but then you can also hit that button. It's on either side. You can hit there and you open up this big storage space. So that's nice. You got, again, actual coin holders, which are becoming more and more of a rarity. A little bit of a little separator down here. And then you've got another USB-A and a USB-C. It's weird. It's an odd choice that they have more USB-As than Cs. There are more USB-Cs in the third row. Interestingly, there's more USB-C ports in the third row than in the second row or the first row, because there's two back there. So an interesting choice. It's nothing wrong with it because you also have a wireless charger up here. So nothing bad, but it's a little bit of an odd choice, but nothing I have a problem with. Again, you know, this is a really, really, really well thought out truck. And to me, it is one of the best full-size SUVs on the market. So I apologize. You're going to see some window wipers going by here. I apologize. As I said throughout this review, rain has been a problem this week. I can't control it. The best I can do is what I'm doing here, which is pulling the GoPro inside so it does not go flying off on the road. And the first thing you notice with the Sequoias, as soon as you pull that wheel, it's instant. It instantly points itself where it's going, because one of the things I absolutely have always loved about Toyotas is the fact that they have outstanding turning radiuses. They're just fabulous. So no matter which Toyota you get, you always wind up with really great turning radius. This vehicle can just turn on a dime. Now, it's not going to turn on a dime compared to the Supra, but it's turning on a dime for a vehicle this size, which is outstanding. The handling is fantastic. And again, it is one of those things of, for a vehicle this size, you have to bear in mind, this is still a full-size SUV. There will be some issues as far as, hey, you know, I'm going to feel like when you, this is a cornering on this vehicle, for example, is a 10 out of 10 for a full-size SUV. The best that another SUV, full-size SUV can do compared to this, as far as cornering, is be as good as. But if you're coming from a mid-size SUV, you may notice this is a little bit top-heavy, more top-heavy than your other vehicle that you came from. That's the same that goes when we're talking about bumps in the road. Really don't feel the bumps in the road. The same goes for the handling. It just handles extremely smoothly. The acceleration's fantastic in this car. That 583 pound-feet of torque is incredible. You feel every single aspect of that when you hit your foot on the gas. The brakes are also outstanding. This is a big beast. And, you know, these brakes bring it to an almost immediate stop. Now, the other thing that you really notice with this vehicle is how quiet it is. And again, that's the one part where when you get a hybrid aspect, this is as quiet as you would. Well, no, I take that back, because if you think about some of your earlier hybrids out there, you would find that they were noisy, and this is anything but noisy. This is an extremely quiet car. It really is something that is impressive. So again, you know, it's extremely quiet. Pickup's fantastic. Everything's here. The only knock that I have on this vehicle are few and far between. The cargo space could be a little bit better because of that hybrid aspect. You know, it takes up, the battery takes up some space in the back. The passenger space could be a little bit better, but again, you saw it's not bad at all. It's really good, especially compared to a lot of other three-row SUVs. The mileage, the fuel economy is the one area that I will 100% ding this on. I wish it was better. The price, it is expensive. It is expensive. It starts at $60, not a bad price, but I will say this. The second you want to put $17.94 on this, you've got to add not just the $17.94 package, but one of the TRD packages. And then, you're looking at suddenly $8,000 being added or so. It's expensive. For what you get, this is a near luxury SUV because honestly, you could pass this off as a Lexus. And what you're looking at this particular model comes in at about $87,000. I know that's super expensive, but when you compare that to what a lot of other vehicles go for in this class, when you look at how luxurious it is, not bad. All right, so that brings us to our next category here. We're going to do it as we're driving along here, and that is what song I think this car is. And the song that I think the Toyota Sequoia is Hell on Wheels by Paul McCartney and Wings. And the reason I picked this song is it's, of course, if you don't know, that's about Paul McCartney's Land Rover, which he called Hell on Wheels, and that's still going today. That song was recorded in the 70s. Song still that vehicle's still going today. It's almost 50 years old. That car is running. I can't guarantee that the Sequoia will still be running in 50 years, but besides that, the thing that I like about that song is it's got this kind of undertone with it. As far as the music, it's underrated as far as like heaviness goes, but it's also got this comforting kind of feeling when you listen to the vocals. It's kind of like family, childlike kind of singing going along with it, but it's also got this kind of toughness going underneath it. And that's what I think this is. This is a family vehicle at heart, but it's also got a rough and tumble exterior. There you go. That's what song I think this is. Toyota Sequoia, Hell on Wheels, Paul McCartney and Wings. All right, so our next category here in our review this week of the 2025 Toyota Sequoia is This or That. And for those of you who have been following us, this is a more recent category. It's where we break it down, comparing it to the 3 or 4 most popular searches that this is compared with on Google. With that, I'm going to tell you whether I like this, whether I'm going to go with this, or whether I'm going to go with that. In this case, we're going to start off with the Toyota Land Cruiser. That is the #1 comparison in Google that we find. And that's an interesting choice because in many ways, I think that this version of the Sequoia is really kind of taken the place of the old version of the Land Cruiser. It's similar space. It's more luxurious, actually, than the old Land Cruiser. Probably just as off-road capable, to be honest. I haven't found anything like that. And, it compares really well. If you're comparing it to a used Land Cruiser, I would go with this. If you're comparing it to the new Land Cruiser, which is what I think the search is for, then it becomes a little bit more interesting. This is significantly bigger. This has a bigger third row. You really can't get a third row here in the US from the Land Cruiser. That's in offshores only. So with that, compared with this, you're going to get the third row. With the Sequoia, you're also going to get a higher package. This starts at 60 and it quickly climbs into the 70s, 80s and above. Land Cruiser, not as bad. Land Cruiser starts at 50 and it starts to get up to the 70s, 80s. So if the third row isn't important to you, and price is really, really important, you want to save like 10 grand or so, go ahead and go with the Land Cruiser. But if you're looking for the third row, go with this. If that doesn't matter as much and you want a smaller vehicle, the Land Cruiser is the one to go with. If, you want more cargo space, you think that third row might be important, you go with this one. It's a really weird comparison. All in all, I think I'd go with this. I like this more than Land Cruiser. I'd rather have that extra cargo space. I'd rather have the more luxurious interior that you don't get with the Land Cruiser, the current Land Cruiser. Generally, I just think that I'd go with this one overall. That one, I'm going to go with this. For the next one, that is the Chevy Tahoe. And this is a more interesting choice. So the Chevy Tahoe's got a little bit more cargo space. It's got a little bit more passenger space in the third row. Luxury-wise, Toyota pulls ahead, especially when you get up into the higher trims. It's going to be a little bit nicer even when you get into the Yukon territory and all that kind of stuff. You know, when you start getting into that, it's going to be more luxurious. By and large, there are few OEMs that can match Toyota's reputation and history of long-term reliability. The ones that can do it are, generally speaking, Subaru and Honda. That's not all, you know, there are outliers or other things out there, but by and large, that's what you find. If you want that comfort of the reliability, the history of reliability, and the reputation for reliability, you go with the Toyota. For me, I think that is important. I think it is important to have that build quality. I think it has a nicer ride than the Tahoe. I think it's more maneuverable than the Tahoe. I just think it's overall better than the Tahoe, with the exception of that cargo and passenger space in the third row. If those are really, really important, you go with the Tahoe. Otherwise, if you can get by, and this still has plenty of third row space, it's still got plenty of cargo space. But if that's really important with you, you go with the Tahoe. By and large, I'm going with this, not that. So that brings us to the next one, which is the Toyota 4Runner. And this is a really interesting choice because the 4Runner is a great value pick with this. The third row is significantly smaller. Cargo space is less. 4Runner probably is more off-road capable when you think about it, as far as even more nimble, being able to get in and out of things. It doesn't have quite the same weight, so that makes it a little bit easier. That's a tough one. It's, again, it's kind of like the Land Cruiser, except a little bit more interesting because it's even less. It starts at 40, and it generally tops out around the 60s. 4Runner is more of a value pick. It's a really, really interesting one. After having this for a weekend with a lacrosse tournament, I kind of really want to say this. The 4Runner may be the smarter choice. It might be just enough for me. It really depends how much you're going to use that third row. If you're going to use that third row a lot, I'd probably lean more towards this than the smaller third row at the 4Runner. If you're thinking of just using that third row occasionally, I think you go with the 4Runner, to be honest. I'm personally leaning more towards the Sequoia, though, to be honest. So that's where I'm going to go with. This is a clean sweep of this, not that. So that concludes our review for this week. I hope you found it informative and useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. For Vision Quest Auto, this is Frank Nieto, and I'll see you around.